she pulled out a doll from the drawer, performed a ritual by using it to cripple Sophia, snapping its legs and ensuring Sophia would be rendered helpless, unable to walk. Sophia sighed as she maneuvered her car through the dimly lit streets, her mind replaying the events of her day at work. It was one of those late-night drives that had become her escape, a way to decompress and find solace in the solitude of the road. The radio played soft jazz, its soothing melodies mingling with the hum of the engine. As she rounded a corner, her headlights illuminated a disturbing scene ahead. Two men were struggling with a young woman, their intentions clear and sinister. The woman's cries pierced the night, and Sophia's heart pounded in her chest. Instinct took over, and she slammed on the brakes, flooding the scene with bright light. The men, startled and panicked, fled into the darkness. Sophia rushed out of her car, her heels clicking against the pavement. She reached the woman, who was trembling and barely conscious. "Are you okay?" Sophia asked, her voice shaking with concern. The woman nodded weakly, her eyes wide with fear and shock. Sophia helped her to her feet and guided her to the car, settling her into the passenger seat. "I'm taking you to the hospital," she said firmly, her mind already racing with thoughts of what could have happened if she hadn't arrived in time. As they drove, the woman began to calm down, but Sophia could see the trauma etched into her features. "What's your name?" she asked gently. "Vera," the woman replied in a whisper. Sophia offered a reassuring smile. "It's going to be okay, Vera. We're almost there." A flashback showed revealing Vera's true identity. In the depths of the ocean, a powerful marine spirit had decided to walk the earth, bent on destruction. This spirit transformed into Vera and two of her companions into men, staging the scene Sophia had stumbled upon. Their goal was to draw in a rescuer, someone they could manipulate and destroy from within. Upon reaching the hospital, doctors swiftly attended to Vera, and Sophia waited anxiously in the lobby. After some time, she was allowed to see Vera, who was resting but visibly shaken. Sophia sat beside her, reaching out to hold her hand. "You're safe now," she assured her. Vera's eyes filled with gratitude and something darker that Sophia couldn't quite place. "Thank you," Vera said softly. "I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't come." Touched by Vera's vulnerability, Sophia made a decision. "You shouldn't be alone. Do you have anyone I can call?" Vera shook her head. "I'm an orphan. I have no one." Sophia's heart ached for her. "Then you can stay with me until you're back on your feet." Vera nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Thank you. You have no idea how much this means to me." Sophia smiled warmly, unaware of the danger she had just invited into her life. Back at Sophia's home, Vera was welcomed with open arms. Sophia's family was compassionate and supportive, immediately taking Vera under their wing. Vera's presence brought a new dynamic to the household, and she quickly became a beloved member of the family. Sophia introduced Vera to her childhood friend, Sandra, a lively and warm-hearted woman with whom she shared a deep, unbreakable bond. The connection between Sophia and Sandra was immediate and apparent, rooted in years of shared memories and experiences. They had grown up together, and their friendship was a testament to the strength of their sister-like bond. With open arms, Sophia welcomed Vera into this close-knit circle, hoping that her friend would find a place within the comforting camaraderie. The three women soon became inseparable, doing everything together. However, there were moments when Vera felt like an outsider, especially when Sophia and Sandra reminisced about their shared past. a seed of resentment began to grow within her. One evening, as they sat around the dining table, Sophia's fiancé, Desmond, joined them. He was a charming and kind man, deeply in love with Sophia. Vera watched them interact, her mind already working on a plan to disrupt their happiness. A week later, Vera, after knowing that Sophia was going to visit Desmond, decided to take her plan into action. She transformed herself to look like Sandra and visited his house, her intentions clear. She tried to seduce him, but just then, Sophia walked in. Shocked and hurt, she fled the scene before Desmond could explain. Desmond chased after her, pleading his innocence. "Sophia, it's not what you think. Sandra was forcing herself on me." Sophia, tears streaming down her face, shook her head. "I can't believe this. How could she?" She walked away, leaving Desmond desperate to fix the situation. The next day, an oblivious Sandra visited Sophia. The moment she stepped into the house, everyone's demeanor changed. Sensing something was wrong, Sandra asked, "What's going on?" Vera, seizing the opportunity, spat out, "You're shameless for even asking that! Husband snatcher!" She hurled accusations, escalating the tension. Confused and hurt, Sandra tried to defend herself. "What are you talking about? I would never do that. And whose husband are you talking about?" Vera stood up, glaring at Sandra. "Don't pretend that you don't know who I am talking about. How could you even do that to your best friend, Sophia? Get out of this house, now!" As Sandra left, Vera felt a sinister satisfaction. She had successfully driven a wedge between Sophia and her best friend. She returned to Sophia, consoling her and deepening the trust Sophia placed in her. Days later, Desmond returned to apologize, and Sophia, torn between her love for him and the betrayal she felt, forgave him. They resumed their wedding preparations, much to Vera's frustration. She realized her mission to destroy Sophia was not going as planned. Sophia and Desmond's wedding was a beautiful ceremony, filled with love and joy. Vera watched from the sidelines, her anger simmering beneath a mask of happiness. She needed to find another way to break them apart. Back in her room, Vera's mind was a whirlpool of schemes and strategies. The dim light cast long shadows on the walls, reflecting the dark thoughts swirling in her head. Her previous successes in driving a wedge between Desmond and Sophia had only whetted her appetite for more manipulation. As she sat at her desk, she began to devise a new plan, intent on exploiting Desmond's vulnerabilities to further her own ambitions. Vera knew she needed to act with precision. She had observed Desmond and Sophia closely, studying their habits and interactions. What she discovered was a crucial weakness. While Desmond and Sophia prayed together regularly, Desmond's faith seemed more perfunctory, lacking the depth and conviction that characterized Sophia's devotion. Vera saw this as an opportunity, a crack in the armor she could exploit to bend Desmond to her will. With this knowledge, Vera formulated her plan. She decided to weave her magic through a seemingly innocent gesture: a meal. She spent hours in her kitchen, crafting a dish laced with subtle incantations designed to cloud Desmond's judgment and draw him toward her. The aroma of the meal filled the room, an enticing blend that masked the sinister intent behind it. Once everything was ready, Vera reached out to Desmond, inviting him over under the pretense of needing help with a household task. Her invitation was casual and friendly, betraying none of her ulterior motives. Desmond, unsuspecting and eager to be of assistance, accepted without hesitation. When Desmond arrived, Vera welcomed him warmly, her demeanor relaxed and unassuming. As they chatted, she served the meal, ensuring Desmond ate heartily. The food was delicious, a perfect blend of flavors that masked the incantations hidden within. As Desmond ate, the enchantments began to take hold. A subtle shift occurred in his perception, a pull toward Vera that he couldn't quite explain. It was as if an invisible thread connected them, drawing him closer with each bite. He found himself lingering, intrigued by her presence, in a way he hadn't been before. Vera watched him carefully, noting the change in his demeanor. Her plan was working, and she reveled in the success of her manipulation. Desmond's newfound attraction to her was a testament to her cunning, a silent victory in her ongoing quest to disrupt the bond between him and Sophia. Though Desmond remained unaware of the true nature of his feelings, Vera knew that this was only the beginning. She was determined to see her plan through to the end, using every tool at her disposal to achieve her ultimate goal. That night, Desmond sneaked into Vera's home, unable to resist the pull he felt towards her. "Why didn't I meet you first?" he muttered, staring at her with newfound desire. "I don't even know what I see in my wife." Vera smiled, pleased with the effect of her magic. "It's okay," she purred, "as long as you're here with me." Their illicit affairs continued for a while without anyone noticing it. Back at home, Sophia sensed an unsettling shift in Desmond's behavior. What was once a warm and open relationship began to feel strained and unfamiliar. Desmond, who had always been attentive and communicative, now seemed distracted and distant. The conversations that used to flow effortlessly between them had dwindled to awkward silences and half-hearted responses. Sophia watched as Desmond withdrew further into himself, spending more time away from home. He often returned late, offering vague explanations that left her feeling confused and worried. The warmth in his eyes seemed to have faded, replaced by a distant look that she couldn't quite decipher. It was as if an invisible wall had been erected between them, and Sophia found herself on the outside, unsure of how to reach him. In her growing anxiety, Sophia turned to Vera and confided in her, pretending to be understanding and supportive. Sophia poured out her heart, expressing her fears and concerns about Desmond's inexplicable behavior. Vera listened intently, nodding sympathetically, her expression one of genuine concern. But beneath Vera's composed exterior lay a hidden satisfaction. Vera secretly reveled in the turmoil she had sown. Her plan was unfolding perfectly, and she delighted in the distance that had grown between Sophia and Desmond. Each sign of Sophia's distress was a victory for Vera, feeding her ego and reinforcing her belief in her own cunning. Vera offered Sophia words of comfort and advice, pretending to care while secretly fueling her doubts. Her role of a supportive friend was working flawlessly, all the while concealing her true intentions. One evening, Desmond approached Sophia with an unexpected announcement. His expression was serious, and his tone measured, as he informed her of an upcoming 2-week business trip. Sophia's heart sank at his words. The news hit her like a wave, amplifying her fears and worries about the growing distance between them. Desmond's trips had always been a part of their life together, but this time felt different. His detachment and the unspoken tension between them made her uneasy, fueling her need to go out for some air. She ended up going to Vera's house. Sophia found Vera lounging comfortably, her demeanor relaxed and cheerful. Vera was engaged in a lively phone conversation, laughing heartily as if without a care in the world. The sound of her laughter seemed incongruous with the turmoil Sophia felt inside. Vera ended her call. She turned her attention to Sophia. "I'm so happy for you, Vera," Sophia said, trying to mask her own distress. "Who's the lucky guy?" Vera smiled coyly. "Just someone I met recently. We're going on a vacation soon." Sophia's heart lightened slightly. That's wonderful. I'm glad you're finding happiness. They talked for a while until Sophia left for her house when it was getting dark. After Sophia left, Vera felt panic clawed at her chest. She couldn't afford for her to find out about her connection with Desmond. She'd ruin everything. She couldn't risk Sophia discovering her connection with Desmond. I must make sure she won't be able to just come to my house at will. She pulled out a doll from the drawer, performed a ritual by using it to cripple Sophia, snapping its legs and ensuring Sophia would be rendered helpless, unable to walk. Upon hearing what had happened to Sophia, her family came around to help her. Meanwhile, Desmond was still not back from Vera's place. The next day, Desmond returned home to find Sophia confided in a wheelchair. With their family around, he pretended to care for her, but once they were alone, he packed his bags and said, "I'm leaving for my business trip," he said coldly, ignoring her pleas for him to stay. Sophia, now completely alone, called her family for help. They took her to their home, where she could be cared for properly. Desmond, upon his return, found an empty house, but wasn't bothered to check up on her. He went on with his life and affairs with Vera, living his life as if she didn't exist. Weeks passed, and Sophia's mother, unable to bear seeing her daughter suffer, visited Desmond's house. She was shocked to find him with Vera, their intimacy undeniable. Heartbroken, she left without a word, determined to help her daughter. Sandra, finally hearing about Sophia's plight, visited her friend. Sophia broke down, apologizing for doubting her. "I should have trusted you," she cried. Sandra hugged her tightly. "It's okay, Sophia. I believe this is more than just a physical issue. I went to see my pastor, and he thinks there's something spiritual going on." They decided to seek help, visiting the pastor together. He prayed with them and advised them to fast for a week. "On the last day, we will pray together," he said. The week of fasting was grueling, but they persevered. On the final day, they gathered at the church. Hours of intense prayer followed, and finally, Sophia felt a wave of relief wash over her. She was healed. Back at Desmond's house, the room was filled with a strange stillness. The air felt different, as if a veil had been lifted, and Desmond blinked, momentarily disoriented. The world seemed sharper, clearer. He felt the weight of Vera's spell lift from his mind, leaving behind a murky sense of confusion and dread. The realization of what he had done hit him like a tidal wave, and a chill ran down his spine. Desmond's heart pounded as he pieced together the fragments of his memory. He had been caught in a fog, unable to control his actions, like a puppet on invisible strings. The clarity that now washed over him was both a relief and a torment, as it revealed the consequences of his actions. His eyes darted around the room until they landed on Vera. She stood there, her expression a mixture of confusion and curiosity. He moved to her and shook her violently. "What did you do to me, and where is my wife?" Vera, sensing what had happened, managed to get away from Desmond's grip and run away. She vanished when she felt she had gone away enough for Desmond not to catch up to her. Desmond, after Vera ran away from him, went to Sophia's house. He met a pastor and her family, who looked shocked and somewhat disgusted to see him there. He immediately went down on his knees and started crying and apologizing to Sophia. Sophia stood there, her eyes, usually so full of warmth and trust, now held a flicker of betrayal that pierced through Desmond's heart. He moved quickly, desperation propelling him to her side. "Sophia," he said, his voice choked with emotion. Each word was a plea, heavy with the weight of his remorse. He reached out, his hands trembling slightly, as if to bridge the gap that had opened between them. "I don't know what came over me," he pleaded. his voice raw and earnest. The confession spilled from his lips, urgent and unguarded. "I'm so sorry." Desmond's eyes bore into hers, searching for a sign of understanding, hoping for a chance to make things right. Sophia looked at him, her expression softening as she took in his sincerity. Yet the hurt lingered, a reminder of the distance that had been carved by the unseen forces. Her arms hung by her sides, a subtle signal that she was willing to listen, even if forgiveness was still a distant possibility. The room seemed to hold its breath, the silence stretching as Desmond's words hung in the air. It was a moment fraught with uncertainty, where the future teetered on the edge of Sophia's response. Desmond's heart ached with the fear of losing her, yet there was a glimmer of hope, a fragile belief that love might triumph over the darkness that had tried to tear them apart. The pastor, seeing the truth, revealed Vera's nature. "She is a marine spirit sent to destroy you. There are many like her, each with a mission to bring ruin." With this, Sophia softened up and hugged Desmond. In the underwater kingdom, the prayers caused chaos. Vera, the powerful sorceress who ruled this underwater domain, watched in disbelief as her world was turned upside down. The prayers from the surface world had reached the depths, unraveling her spells and draining her power, as she tried to comprehend how the prayers of mere mortals could have such an effect. It was an affront to her pride and a challenge to her authority. Her mission had failed, and she knew she could never return to the surface. The prayers of Sophia and her loved ones had created a barrier that she could not penetrate. Sophia forgave Desmond, understanding that he had been under a powerful spell. They worked on their relationship, becoming stronger and more united in their faith. They prayed together daily, fortifying their bond. Sophia revealed to Desmond that she was pregnant, and the news brought immense joy to their lives. They celebrated with their family and friends, feeling blessed and hopeful for the future. Sandra remained a close friend, her loyalty unwavering. She was instrumental in helping Sophia heal, and their friendship grew even deeper. The ordeal had brought them all closer, creating a support system that was unbreakable. Sophia and Desmond prepared for the arrival of their baby, their love growing stronger each day. They knew that they had overcome a great challenge and were determined to protect their family from any future threats. One evening, they hosted a dinner to celebrate the upcoming arrival of their baby. Friends and family gathered around the table, laughter and love filling the air. Sandra, Sophia, Desmond, and their family shared stories and made plans for the future. As they sat together, Sophia felt a sense of peace and contentment. She had been through so much, but had emerged stronger. Her faith had been tested and had grown, and she knew that she could face any challenge with the support of her loved ones. In the weeks that followed, Sophia gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. The arrival of their daughter brought even more joy to their lives, and they named her Grace, symbolizing the divine favor that had guided them through their trials. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Your support means the world to me. If you loved what you saw, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing content. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Stay tuned and take care.